So we sit down. Wait, the figure that Frank gave me. Imagine on the back of spending 600K, and so that it's not taken out of context. Allow me not to say how much he told me.
No problem. Yeah.
I was like, F it. This movie industry doesn't make sense. I said, F it. Wacha ikae. Hii movie industry makes sense. Wacha ikae. So kina Lucas are there asking me. My wife is asking me. I'm like, ay, apana. You know, Paka, those ones over, I asked them, do you guys have that money? And the reasoning at that point was, if this is the money that we need to pay, then what does a whole movie look like? And it's not like what he had asked for was extraordinary. Like,
it's one because you've spent 600K.
Yeah. And to be honest, and I'll explain this later, to be honest, it can be worth it. But we are not there yet. And we have to appreciate that. Otherwise, we are not going anywhere.
Okay.
Now, apart from my wife and Lucas asking me, there's also Faith and Sarah asking me, so? So I told them, sorry, this thing doesn't make sense. I'm stopping here. It doesn't make sense.
So they're like, I'm not about that burning all that loot.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, sawa. Now, so that you see a Nyash connection. Around this time, Nyash had things that he had gone through in the industry with people attacking him, different things, nini. So Nyash wrote a song. The song was Kebs. So while Nyash was going through his motions in Kebs, for me, I was applying parts of it into the film industry with my little knowledge of the film industry at that point. So I can see his pain and I'm relating to it on this other side, like, guys, you don't see, you know.
So let me ask you a question. Your irritation about this thing was that first of all, was it that I don't have the money, or was it that I have this money, but if I pay this money I'm wasting because there's no returns I'm going to get? What was it? Or this is just too much? What was it?
It was a bit about money in terms of if this is what a script costs, then I can imagine what everything else costs. So when you put all this together, does it make business sense?
Yep.
Because I'd also started studying. Remember when I talked about also marketing and distribution?
Yep.
So we had started studying, when a film comes out, where does it go?
And how does it go there? How does it get there? Yeah.
So when you look at the numbers, and I'll give you a proper example. When you look at the numbers don't make sense. So now,
literally, like chums.
So when you look at from the source, it's not making sense, but you can see if we work together, if we collaborate somehow, we can make it work. But at that point, I think at that point, I'd started getting some costs through Faith and Sarah for some of the things that we might have needed. So I'd started seeing huge costs, and I was like,
this is crazy.
I now understand why we are not there.
Why the quality is the way it is.
Yeah, and again, I'll give a disclaimer. That's my opinion. So, and I remember why Kebs is so important in this story. Because just before we released Kebs, see, that was the time when we had done Kina Hayawani, then we had mellowed a bit with Baby Baby. We went for a gig in Germany.
Germany?
Yes, we were called for a gig in Germany. It was a Kenyan gig in Germany, and it was not Berlin. What's the other place?
Frankfurt.
Was it Frankfurt? What's the other big whatever city?
Hamburg.
Hamburg. It was Hamburg. And we went for this gig with Otile Brown.
What?
Yes, that's where I met Noriega.
Oh, nice.
That's where I met Noriega. So, and I'll never forget this particular day when we were leaving
you,
to go to the US.
Nyash, Otile, Noriega.
Yes.
In Hamburg.
Yes. So the time when I got into a cab to go to the airport, for some reason I called Frank, because Frank had also told me in our previous meeting that he's also busy doing some stuff for, I think, MultiChoice. So for some reason I called him, or I texted him, and I was like, how's your projects going? Because now I was curious to see, okay, these projects that you're doing, that you're so busy with, how are they going? Like, I want to see the end result. Now I want to start watching these things. So then he told me he's finished. He's actually finished, because I think this was like about maybe a month or two after our conversation. So he told me he's finished. Then he asked me, how's your film project going? I told him, after my conversation with you, I gave up on it. So nothing has happened really. Then, by the grace of God, as I was getting to the airport, no, by this time, because it was text, so it was taking time back and forth. By the time we were getting to board, Frank told me, let's talk. I got so excited, I couldn't wait. But now I'm boarding, so I'll be offline for hours. Let me tell you, as we were boarding, I made a quick call to Sarah Hassan. And I told her, listen, remember that story for 40 Sticks? Remember that guy Frank? I've just spoken to him. He said, let's talk. So listen, can we agree on a figure that we don't go beyond? I leave you negotiating. Sawa. So we talked, we agreed on a figure. I got on the plane, flew out. Landing like this in Germany, I switch on my phone.
What's
One
up?
of the first messages from Sarah Hassan, Frank Ndani. I was so excited. I was like, Bas, we are good.
That's the without that there's nothing you're doing.
I was so excited, and I remember that trip because after the performance, just before we left the hotel in the morning to come back, to go to the airport to come back to Nairobi, is when I hit send and live on Kebs, the video. And that one I can never forget. So yeah, so we came back to Kenya.
So how was the experience with Nyash and Otile? So you guys were all together?
Yeah, we're all together. And then you know Nyash is an introvert. So afterwards, after the gigs, there were, because we stayed there for quite a number of days. I think we were there for like 4 or 5 days. So after the gigs, there's a day when we went out. But Nyash wasn't there, so we went out with these Kenyan promoters. There was a DJ. Then now myself and Otile and Noriega. Wait. When Otile does not have the pressure of stardom and he's easy. Yeah, Otile is a fun guy. Yeah, we had fun. We went out, we had fun. Yeah, we had fun. Otile is a fresh guy. Noriega is too fresh.
Yeah,
you know.
he is.
Yeah. So it was a good experience, and the Kenyans treated us well. Like, it was a very good experience.
Just to ask you.
Oh, and by the way, that show that we did, Nyash performed first, then Otile.
Because that big.
Yeah, Otile was big. Okay, he's big.
Yeah.
But as in, he was big from back then. As in, watu walimtambua from.
Yep. So let me ask you this. What am I trying to ask? I'm trying to ask, when you're planning an international event, when you're called, what are the things that you must, for you, are non-negotiables? first of all, you're going to a country you've never been before, a city you've never been before.
Yeah.
It's not that you can go and do a recce of the building. I mean, of the place of the performance. So what is it? And it can't just be based on they're paying you your figure, so you're good.
Okay, so let me give you the bare minimums, and I've realized that I sometimes I imagine that they are the normal things. So of course, you have to confirm your flight ticket and that it's return. Like, you should never be in a situation whereby they're booking for you one way and hoping they'll make money from that gig to pay for your ticket back. So it has to be return. So what you do is, and promoters used to, some never liked when I used to do this, but I had to do it. So if you're the promoter, you book the ticket, right? And then you send me the tickets. What I do is I get into the system of the airline through the tickets to say do online check-in. While I'm doing online check-in, I change the email address from yours to mine. So you can't do anything with this ticket after that. Because sometimes you find a situation whereby the promoter can decide to play
cancel
with that ticket. Yeah. So I would change that. So now, if the promoter then wants to do something, then it's me who'll get an email first. Number two.
Yo, that is not normal. People don't know that. How do you learn that? How did you even learn that? Have you been in situations where you've been played? Oh,
one of the things you have to do is you have to read up on managers around the world, in the US, the UK, and you start seeing those nuggets from them. But also this particular one I had because I'd heard of somebody, a Kenyan DJ, who went for a gig somewhere, and then they ended up co-signing with the promoter because the promoter's chick decided to like the DJ. So this guy cancelled his ticket back. Yeah. So
that's crazy.
So the other thing you do is you have a certain standard in terms of hotel, where, for example,
and flight. So someone like Nyash, I'm not saying of course everybody should be, but him is first class.
Okay, first class is really, really expensive.
So but business,
minimum was business, and then for me, depending on where it is, it would either be, if for me I would go economy while he does business class, but sometimes on some flights I would ask for premium economy. So it's not business, but it's better than economy.
I get.
So then the other thing we do is when so we have a standard for the hotel, like 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, depending on where it is. And then
and are you going with band, by the way?
No, that time not going with band, just me and him.
Yeah.
Oh, so I used to play the role of the DJ also. And I'll tell you why that's important, especially in this day and age. So we'd go, so the hotel, we have the bare minimum of what you should book. And then things like, it needs to have Wi-Fi, it needs to be, the deal you have to get is including breakfast. It needs to have the option of late checkout and early check-in. If you have to pay for those, you'll have to pay for them. At the worst, if you have to pay for one room. Because we can't have a flight in the evening, then we've checked out of the hotel at 10 a.m. You know. Then we also used to have rules about it cannot be on the ground floor or first floor or second floor. So it has to be up above, and then it has to be facing away from the main street.
Why? Oh, because of noise.
Because of noise and things like that. Yeah.
And why that high up? Less noise.
It's also not.
It's like here we're on.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get it. As compared to ground.
And then so once you as the promoter book, you need to send me the confirmation. Then I confirm with the hotel, and I confirm with the hotel that you've already paid, or they have your card on hold, so that at no point will they ask me for money. That's very important. And I have to check with the hotel that it's been paid for from this date to this date. We are coming in at this time. If possible, if they have an online check-in that you can do, you do everything so that when you get there, it's just confirm the passport, give me the key cards, and we are off to the rooms, so that we don't spend time down there. Then of course now the vehicles to use.
And what do they give you per diems? Okay,
yeah,
no, first of all,
we use per diems were standard.
Okay.
Per diems were standard per diems.
And per diems, does per diems mean now that you do your own lunch?
Yes, but the beauty about Stato is,
Guys,
especially
chill with you.
there's always someone who will come and take you. You know.
Yeah. But per diems just ensure that you are sorted.
Yeah.
Well, so it's per diem for you as a manager.
Yes.
And per diem for anyone within your team.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But most of the time it was just the two of us.
Yeah, I get.
Now the other thing is, because we had very specific performance versions of the songs. So I would go. So I'd always have my laptop with me.
Yep.
And I would always have a flash disk with me. So I'd go to the club either with my laptop. Actually, I'd go to the club with, or rather to the venue with my laptop as well as the flash disk. And because I have Serato installed on my laptop, I would actually go and plug in the way a DJ plugs in.
I get it. And
I'm actually the one who plays for his.
Because you know he's set.
I know he's set, and I don't want to also lose these files. I don't want to lose these files, because these are very specific performance version files.
I get it.
Only 3 DJs in the US. Only 3 DJs in the US I could live with those files, and I'm okay with them. Number 1 is DJ KD.
Yes.
Number 2 is DJ Babu. Actually 4. Yeah. Number 3 is DJ Fully Focus. Number 4 is an amazing DJ in the US called DJ Dime. Those are the people who I would live with those files, because now DJ Dime, in fact I used to joke with him and say, one day I won't be able to come to the US for a gig with Nyash.
DJ Dime's got it.
Dime has to be included as
the performance DJ.
The performance DJ.
Yo.
Yes, because also he knew how to play with Nyash's performance. Like, you know, just knowing where
at this point the crowd will scream.
I'm at this point take it down because maybe he wants to vibe the audience. You know, such things he knew. So those files you have to protect.
But you and Nyash, of course, practiced.
Yeah.
So, and to the point where you tell you at this point but you also know him to the point where, because performance is, there's practice and then there's now let the artist flow. Actually,
by the way, for this DJ-based performances, we didn't really practice, the two of us. Like, he'd have his own sessions, like he'd know what to do. But for me, it's based on, I've been there so many times. I know.
I get it.
I know.
I get it.
Yeah. So the only thing would be, maybe he would tell me, this time, let's do this song before this song, or vice versa. You know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's change some batteries. We'll be back just now.